Hello and welcome back to the channel. How are you guys doing? In this video we are going to learn and understand the provider state management package with small project example. But first let's understand the three major components of the provider. First is Change Notifier. Second, Change Notifier provider, and last one is consumer. Change Notifier. It is a simple class included in Flutter SDK which provides change notification to its listeners. All the state data related to certain UI screen are encapsulated inside Change Notifier class. And the most important thing is calling notify listeners whenever you change state data in Change Notifier. This method tells Flutter to rebuild the screen which is using Change Notifier, and changes in UI can be seen. If you forgot to call this method, change in UI can't be seen. Change Notifier provider. It is the widget that provides an instance of a Change Notifier to its descendants. So, just wrap the class with Change Notifier provider that needs to use an instance of Change Notifier. Consumer. It is a widget that allows to observe the state change from Change Notifier to the UI class. It is not always the case that whole UI screen will use the state data from Change Notifier class. So, it's best practice to put a consumer widget as deep in the tree possible that is in a particular part of UI, and only that part will rebuild and re-rendered instead of a whole screen. Now, let's talk about the project. The project is simple. It takes an age integer as input and tells if the person is eligible to receive a citizenship or not with the help of circular color indicator. If the age is above and exactly 16, the person is eligible and circle turns green. And if the age is less than 16, then the person is not eligible and circle shows red color. Now, let's begin the project. This eligibility page is the main screen of the app where we code a UI for the app. Let's create a circle indicator, text form field and check button with some basic UI. Later, we will use the Change Notifier provider and consumer in this screen. In this screen, the state changes in two areas, one in the color indicator container and second in the text at last showing you are eligible or not. We can easily implement these state changes by creating this main UI screen as stateful widget and using a setState method in same screen. But, stateful widget needs more memory and has bigger underlying logic. So, we are going to manage these state changes using provider and keep the main UI screen as stateless widget. In small apps we cannot see much difference, but in large app it makes a lot difference and also makes easier to manage many state changes. But for now, we are just trying to understand the concept of provider through small project example. Create a text editing controller and provide it to the text form field. Now, let's create a new file and new class extending Change Notifier. And write all the state data and methods in this class. It is in small app so, its state can be handled using a single Change Notifier class. Large projects has several models therefore need several Change Notifier class to manage the states. Here, we need two variables, one for the eligibility message and another for the Boolean value. And we will create three methods. First method is for is eligible and contains true Boolean value with you are eligible message. Second method is for is not eligible and contains false Boolean value with you are not eligible message. And third method is to compare the age input given by user and call the first and second method when age is eligible and not eligible respectively. Don't forget to call the notify listeners. Now, let's add provider package to our project dependency. Let's wrap scaffold with Change Notifier provider in such way that at last Change Notifier provider will return a scaffold. So, select all the content inside scaffold, copy that and then cut. We must give the Change Notifier provider type that is the class name that extends Change Notifier. Now paste that copied scaffold content. Now let's wrap column and its content with consumer. So like as earlier, copy the content inside column, cut it and later we will paste inside consumer. Similarly, for consumer also we must specify the type of model and here that is the class extending Change Notifier. And also rename the value to something else like provider in the video so later it became easier to use. I am wrapping the button container with inkwell to get the on-tap functionality. You can also use gesture detector. Inside on-tap, we get the value from text form field using controller and convert it to integer, and store it in age variable. Then, we call the method from provider using the instance of it renamed as provider and pass the stored value to that function. And use the eligibility message from provider to show required message. Now, let's use the isEligible Boolean variable from provider to change the color of the container. In this way, we can manage the state of an application by creating a separate Change Notifier class and write all the state data on that class. And use a provider package to access the instances of that class to use it in the main UI screen, keeping its stateless. Thank you for watching the video till the end. Like the video if you find it helpful, and if you have any confusion, feel free to ask any question in the comment.